Over, and it's fallen to Aguero, and it's nodded in from inside the 6-yard box. It's Cel Spellman.
Lomas looking to pick out Bruyne. Oh, it came off Campbell. Walsh! 1-0 Manchester City.
First touch, he goes inside, puts that over, and it's forward to Aguero, and it's nodded in from inside the 6-yard box. It's Phil Foden and the Etihad for Manchester City.
Very dramatic in the offing. Well, there's a goal in the offing, that's for sure, and a quite brilliant one by Ali Benabi at that.
Here's an opportunity, Gundogan, here's De Bruyne. On his left foot, De Bruyne! Oh, what a goal! What a response!
We're getting girls scoring goals. It takes just 3 steps to get your free Puma football.
Step 1.
Record your goal anywhere, anytime.
Step 2.
Share your goal on social media. Don't forget the hashtag.
Step 3.
We'll send you a free limited edition Puma football. Amazing!
Dear friends, a very good afternoon and welcome along to Matchday Live. There they are, Pep Guardiola and our squad, Manchester City, arriving at the Etihad Stadium for our Premier League 5:30 kick-off against Tottenham Hotspur. Now, of course, following their 1-0 victory against Man City on the opening weekend of the season, Tottenham are looking to secure their first league double over the reigning top-flight champions since 87 season. That was when they beat Liverpool 1-0 home and away. But of course, standing in their way is a Pep Guardiola side that is in formidable form. 5-0 in the week, and they have only lost just one of their last 11 home games against today's opponent, Tottenham Hotspur. Last time they lost was in 2016, 2-1 in February, so they will be hoping to continue that streak. And very shortly, I'm going to be bringing you our starting 11, who will be hoping to continue putting those 3 points on the board as we chase down a consecutive Premier League title. That man's in great form, and as are we in the studio. Cel Spellman joining you for Matchday Live, and you may be thinking, oh my goodness, is that one of the greatest centre-back partnerships that never existed? You'd be right in thinking so. We're joined by Joleon Lescott and Tottenham Hotspur and Premier League legend Ledley King. Ledley, what an absolute pleasure it is to welcome you on the show. How are you today?
Yeah, I'm very good at the moment. The game's not been played yet, so ask me again at the end of the game. But at the moment, I'm good.
That's what we like to win. Hopefully, well, for this first hour anyway, it'll be nothing but good. Joleon, we've not been together for a while. How's everything with you, sir?
I'm good. I'm liking the new do and that. Yeah, fresh face to that.
New year, new me.
Yeah.
There we go. Thank you, Joe. You enjoying it?
Yeah.
Thank you very
much.
Better. Yeah, not as homeless, is it? No. Well, before we speak a little bit more to our guests, the first thing to do on Matchday Live, as always, is to bring you our starting 11. It's the first place you can get it, and this is how we are shaping up today at the Etihad Stadium. In goal, we of course begin with our Brazilian number 1, Ederson. A back four consisting of Walker, Diaz, Laporte, Cancelo. Of course, Walker coming back into the side after that suspension midweek in the Champions League. Rodri keeps his place holding alongside Ilkay Gundogan, who is captain in the side today, alongside Kevin De Bruyne. And a forward 3 of Phil Foden, Bernardo Silva and Raheem Sterling. Looking at the bench as well, Scott Carson, John Stones, Nathan Ake, Zinchenko, Fernandinho, Riyad Mahrez, Delap, McAtee and Lavia. I guess, Ledley, will begin. You know, if you're Antonio Conte in a Tottenham Hotspur team, looking at the form of City in that starting 11, what do you think they'll be feeling in that changing room?
Well, I think they know what to expect. You know, any side City put out is a quality side, so they'll be expecting a tough game for sure. Obviously, the form is not great going into the game, but they do have players that are capable of, causing City problems, given the right opportunity. Mm-hmm. So it's important that Tottenham are going to have to defend well, and when they do win the ball, they're going to have to be calm with it. Be able to play out from the press. Mm-hmm. And hopefully get the players like Kane and Son and maybe Lucas or whoever's playing into the game.
Yeah, absolutely. And we know, of course, they really have been an Achilles heel for City in kind of start of the season and previous season. We'll bring you Tottenham team news in just a little bit. Ilkay Gundogan comes into the side, of course, captaining it as well. Joleon, what do you think the thinking is behind that for today's game in particular?
Just possession. I think he comes in, he scored a wonderful goal last year in this fixture. I think it was assist from Ederson.
Yeah.
But in regards to what he brings to the team, calmness. He's obviously a leader. He's the chosen captain in today's lineup. So he obviously brings a lot of quality as a personality. But yeah, his calmness in possession, his ability to receive the ball and play forward. And I think he's probably one of the most comfortable players we have in the opposition half. I don't think he ever seems phased. He's always composed and playing at his own tempo. And
I guess as well, he's one of those players that Pep talks about. We can take a look at this, I think, goal in just a second. But he's one of these players that dictate that tempo of the game and always seems to see the game the way that Pep sees it, which I guess is invaluable for the coach.
Yeah, I think he spoke highly about him numerous times, about his understanding and his game intelligence. And they're things, in the greatest respect, if you haven't played, you don't appreciate. Fans will appreciate the technique and the physical attributes of players, but game understanding, regardless of the outcomes, when it's Gundogan, I very rarely see him making a bad decision.
Yeah.
So that is a massive plus for any manager to have.
He's a man after your own heart because he's been doing some coaching with our under-16s, and he actually kind of speaks about the level of detail that you kind of need to play in that position. And he speaks about even if you play in a pass and it goes to the player's wrong foot, he counts that as a bad pass. That kind of shows the level that he operates, and I guess for them, the team around him, that must be such a joy to play with, having a centre midfielder like that.
Yeah, it's so important to have intelligent players. And like Joleon said, it's not something that the fans always recognise, but as a player, you recognise that on the pitch, someone who's intelligent. I remember Michael Carrick being a similar type of player. He just knew where to be. Very balanced, two-footed, and always gave the pass at the right time to the right foot, as we say. So, Gundogan's that type of player.
I remember, do you know what Michael Brown said about Michael Carrick as well? Said he remembers like he was kind of, I can't remember where they were at together, but playing together. He said, and it just seemed to click where all of a sudden you couldn't get near Carrick and you couldn't get the ball off him. And he said it's actually his game intelligence and understanding that allows that.
There's that position, like Gundogan, Rodri, got it to a certain extent.
Scholes.
Yeah.
Alonso.
Yeah. It's players that you probably don't get near.
Modric.
Yeah, you don't get near them to actually put them under pressure, and it's not a coincidence that they're doing that. It's by their choice and their ability to see the game in their tempo, at their tempo, and just predict the way the ball's going to go. And as I said, a lot of them players in their positions tend to pass you the ball in the time they need or they would need, which is not always great for a defender, especially. I need more time where, like the likes of David Silva would always give me the amount of time I needed to get the pass away, and that's the thing I thought that was the difference between good and great players.
Gundogan coming into the side, Ledley, means that Bernardo's going to be, we think, pushed up into maybe the middle or a wing, depending on Foden. How good has Bernardo been, and how difficult do you think he will be to play against at the moment, Ledley? Of course, 2 brilliant goals. This one in the middle of the week is a joke.
Yeah, he's obviously in great form at the moment. He's had a great season. He works tirelessly for the team, and he's just such an important player. But the difficult part for Spurs is, having no striker. We all know as defenders, when you have someone up against you, it makes it a lot easier when you can touch them, when you can feel them. But the way City play, their players are roaming around kind of free, and then all of a sudden they make bursts, and it makes it really difficult, and Bernardo's brilliant at that.
If you were still playing, Ledley, and you were trying to set up your defence, and same question for you, Joleon, how would you even approach trying to defend, say, if this was coming up against you with that false 9 and also with the 3 players that just have a real amazing ability to mix and match and pop up in each other's positions? Is there a way you can set up against it?
It's so difficult. I mean, I was here last season as part of the coaching staff, so we obviously was preparing for playing against Man City. At home, we won the game 2-0, although we was under the cosh for the possession was probably 75% to Man City. We had to do everything right and take our chances when they come. It could have been different. Here was a different story. We lost 3-0. Couldn't really get near them. It was so difficult to press them, to the point where I think we didn't press them, but then they still cause you problems anyway. As you say, with the front 3, they're roaming around. You want to squeeze the game, but at the same time, players like Sterling will burst in behind if you leave big spaces. It's so difficult.
Again, there's not one way, because if it was, a team would have figured it out, and then the rest of the teams would follow. You know what I mean? But what I do think is, and it's hard for teams like Spurs because they have the players that come in here believing they can win, and generally they should, world-class players. But when you get lesser teams that come here not to lose, I think that's what frustrates Man City. I think it frustrates Pep as well. And I think that is possibly your best chance of winning, is setting up your team not to lose. But it's hard because top players believe they can win. But it's not an individual sport, is it? We know that everyone needs to be on it, and every decision needs to be right, and then you need to take your chances. Like Ledley said, then the Spurs game, I think they got their chance early on. They took it, but if you don't get that early on, then it's a totally different game kind of thing. And I think the possessions probably would have been the same in both fixtures, but chances were different.
Exactly. But I think if you're going to be a team that doesn't press, you've still got to have a plan going forward. You've got to still look to punish when you do have the ball, and that's the difference. You can't just come here and expect to defend and hopefully get one chance. You have to defend well, but then you have to show your quality when you do have your opportunity.
When the chances come.
What I would say is that the teams that have had success here, they've had to have pace on the break. Like I remember Wolves, Adama Traore, he caused problems. The Suns obviously caused problems. And even the Liverpool games, when they've got through, it's transitions, and you need players that have pace, and ideally that player needs to be the opposite side to Kyle Walker. You know what I mean? So there's not a definitive answer to that question, but there's a lot of variables that need to be in place.
It's interesting, Ledley, because obviously, I mean, for those who don't know, obviously you were part of the coaching staff. Mourinho kind of brought you in, and we always ask the question on this show, how does a team prepare to play this Manchester City team? And so when you were preparing last season, Does that involve, is it more the structure? Is it more you're trying to learn what their triggers are and stop them from happening before? What does preparation involve when coming up against City?
I think the preparation involves, just seeing. A big part of the game now is how teams build up, and it's a big part for Man City how they start their attacks, how they like to suck teams into them to open up spaces. But like Joleon said, it's difficult. It sounds good on paper, but then trying to go out there and execute it is so difficult. So, me as being part of the coaching staff, I realise how difficult it is.
It is, yeah.
We was sometimes going around in circles at times because top players. We talk about players like Gundogan, as we said, they make things happen. You trust them, but they're good enough to play through that. So that's the difficult, and that's why City are a top team.
Yeah, absolutely. A word on Raheem Sterling as well. Bernardo in great form. I mean, everyone's in great form, but Sterling as well, really kind of coming into his own. And actually, if you look at that finish as well, he's a player playing with supreme confidence at the moment as well, isn't he, Joleon?
Yeah, like Raheem's. The start of the season, I think did the game midweek, and the stats from the first half from November till now is like ridiculously different, but these are the standards he set himself. So since November, I think he's scored like 14 goals or so, which again is the norm for Raheem. So as much as he's in great form, I would say he just wasn't at the level he'd set himself the first half of the season, because this is what we expect of him, because this is what he's done for the last 5-6 seasons.
Yeah.
So it's not a surprise that he's able to hit these heights, and I just love watching him. I just love, especially the Brentford game. I think he just chose to run past players, and I haven't seen him do that. And that's the sign of the confidence in him when he just picks up the ball and he said, "I'm just gonna run past you." No trick. That is the trick I've got, is my pace.
Yeah. No. And for any defender, they always say, isn't it, that the one thing you kind of don't want to come up against Ledley is someone with that raw pace and acceleration.
Yeah, it's scary to play against. It really is.
Ledley was quick as well.
You were rapid.
I played with Aaron Lennon. I've seen
against
him destroy opponents. And sometimes you know what they want to do, but if they knock the ball far enough ahead, there's nothing you can do about it. The space is there, and they run into the space. So difficult. Yeah.
Absolutely. Listen, I think we can take a side pause because Kevin De Bruyne, of course, is a man also in great form. We can hear him speaking. Oh, no, we're going to bring you the interview in just a second. Well, we'll just have a quick word on Kevin De Bruyne. He seems to also be back to playing his best, Joleon. We spoke about he's had injuries. He kind of had the Euros and maybe a bit fatigue. But as you say, Ledley, as well, you talk about Gundogan, Bernardo and Sterling, then you've got the case of Kevin De Bruyne.
Yeah, listen, I've recently seen his stats against the so-called top 6 teams. Remarkable. There's goals against every team and assists against every team, which is ridiculous. We talk about big game players, and he's definitely one of them. Again, another player that we're judging him off his own standards, so when it's not the norm to him, we question fitness and stuff. But I do think that's a visible difference. I think he looks fitter now. I think he's moving more freely, and looks like he's able to just in transition as well and just run past players, which he wasn't doing early in the season.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, listen, if he scores today as well, that'll be his 50th in the Premier League. So fingers crossed he'll be hitting the back of the net. Now, we're always... Ledley, not so much. Now, we love to refresh things here at Manchester City, and it's no different with our Manchester City app. That is where you can get all our latest news. That's, of course, where you can get Matchday commentary, which today is being brought to you by the legend that is Alistair Mann and Andy Morrison. But it's that whole refresh, and here to show you all about it, we made a little film. So everything is now going to be all in one place on our Manchester City app, of course, as well. All the brilliant City Plus documentaries that we've had out. And I can tell you there's a new one coming, which I'll tell you about in just a little bit. And Matchday commentary today is from Alistair Mann and Andy Morrison. So when we wrap up, get on there and give that a listen. And also, while you're on your phone, after you've downloaded the app, drop us a little WhatsApp. There's your number on the bottom. And that is how you can get your questions in or some thoughts to our guests today, which are Joleon, Lescott and Ledley Kingston. I've been so excited about having. So if you've got any burning questions, send them in. and I'll put them to our guests a little bit later on in the show. Now, Spurs team news coming in just a moment. Not before, though, we begin our game of the show. Who's stat? You've played this before, haven't you, Joleon?
I don't know.
You don't know? If you haven't, it's a new one. It's a new one for you, Ledley. So throughout the show, we have 3 clues of a player, and we ask you to try and work out which player this is. So let's take a look at our first clue.
Are we allowed to play?
You can play, of course.
Because I've spoiled a couple of games in the past.
So here we go. This the first clue is this player has scored 97 Premier League goals in his career.
So it's one of the 2 teams, or what team? He's
a Man City player. Man City
player. Playing right now?
Past or present.
Oh, wow.
Okay. So listen, there you go. Don't worry.
Yeah, that's enough.
We'll bring you a clue. We'll bring you a second clue before the end of the show. All right? There's clue number 1. This player has scored 97 Premier League goals in his career. Right, let's take a look at today's opponent then. Tottenham Hotspur, of course. They did get those 3 points earlier on in the season. Slightly different Spurs team now, though, of course. They've had a form where they've lost 3 in a row, and they've got Antonio Conte as their manager as well. Hugo Lloris starts in goal. Then we have Romero, Royal, Dyer, Davis, Sessegnon, Holberg, Benton Kerr, and I apologise, I think this is right, Kulusevski, Son and Kane. Formidable there, of course. They are 2 names that definitely haunt any Manchester City fans. And looking at the bench, we've got Galini, Roden, Sanchez, Doherty, White, Winks, Lucas Moura, Bergwijn and Scarlett. Before a little focus on the team, Ledley, I just wanted to get your thoughts on Tottenham's season so far and how you think Antonio Conte is setting into the role.
Yeah, I think he came in and he immediately made a difference. You could see the intensity of the players go up another level. I think they went from the least, or the team with the least running stats in the Premier League to the most in 6 weeks or so.
Yeah. So
they was putting in the work on the training pitch, trust me. So we saw that come into fruition with the performances. Although the form of recent it's not been too good, so that'll be a little bit worrying from the manager. But it's good to see that the 2 new signings are playing today. It'll be a tough game for them today. But it's good to see them, and hopefully they can, they'll be used to big games playing at Juventus, so hopefully they can bring that and play well today.
I was reading an interview with Antonio Conte that was speaking about kind of, obviously, we had the whole thing around kind of transfers coming in and out, but he said particularly with those 2 players, it's brought more of a balance to the team. I'm not sure how much you know about them, but were they kind of roles that you think that Tottenham did need to improve on before they signed them?
It's difficult. It's difficult to know who. I think the manager's the most important person. He knows what he wants, what type of player he wants. I think it was important to get another midfield player in.
Yeah.
Bentancur, from what I've seen of him, he's someone who can play a forward pass. He looks really comfortable on the ball. Ideally, probably a number 10 type of player has been missing from the club. But it's never easy. It's never easy in January. So these are things I'm sure in the summer they'll be looking at.
Yeah, absolutely. And Joleon, I know you were with us Matchday Live for the game earlier on in the season. Yeah. Slightly different team now, but you still see those names there. Kane and Son, and I guess that will be lingering in the team's mind. Won't it?
Especially Son. He's been a nemesis of thorn in City side for a number of years. But I'm pleased to see Sessegnon, to be honest. I know he came off early, didn't he? And for whatever reason, the manager deemed it right, but now you can see that it wasn't a personal thing. It was just a tactical decision. He's back in the team, so hopefully that fills him with confidence that he's back in the team. And
that's important for a young player, right? For him to be playing today after coming off.
100%, because he would have felt really low, regardless of the result last week. That result would have been oblivious to him. That coming off in the first half, it's coming off as a defender anyway. He's never nice, but to come off in the first half, it would have been soul destroying. So. Good on the manager, and hopefully he does well, not too well.
But it does feel like, even when you look at the team on paper, they're now actually, as you say, a couple of new additions, probably still to find their feet, but they do seem to have the solid foundations that can actually, with maybe a full season under their belt, Ledley, and a full season under a new manager, could really go to kick on next season. Are you quite hopeful actually to see what this Antonio Conte project can bring to Tottenham?
Definitely, he's a proven winner.
Yeah,
he wants to win things. So. Hopefully we're building towards that. But the team today, I think it's a team with legs. It's good to see Romero and Dyer play, because I don't think they've played too many games, if at all, together. But But it's a team that's got some legs about it, and I think you definitely need that when you play City.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think Pep was talking as well, that to be facing a team that have lost 3 in a row, it's very, rare for a team to lose 4. But, I mean, that's kind of also got to be a major part of today's game as well, because they're going to have the
a
bit
top
between
team
the
as
teeth.
well. It's not like an average team where, in the greatest respect, if that Spurs were bottom of the league or down there, you're thinking, they can lose 4, 5, 6 in a row. Just like you expect City to win 6 in a row, whatever. But when teams are fighting for 4th, and I have them down as 4th due to the games they have in hand.
Yes.
I have them down to finishing 4th, but yeah, it's not going to be an easy one.
No.
I think it'll be tight, but you just can't bet against City, can you?
No.
Regardless, if City get it right, like, they can be unplayable and unstoppable. I think for every other team to beat City, it has to be one of their best performances of the season, and we've seen even Arsenal put in their best performance and lose.
Yeah.
So it doesn't guarantee you anything, even if you do put in your best performance.
How do you think they'll be setting up today then? They're looking at the team. Will it be a case of going to have to absolutely absorb some pressure, but again, try and hit us on the counter?
Definitely. I think you have to concede that you're going to come up second best in terms of possession when you play against City. But it's what you do when you do have the ball. But the manager, he won't want to be changing too much. He'll have his philosophies in the way he wants to play the game. He's still going to want the team to build up from the back and try and play, with the 3 centre-backs. He's looking to push the full-backs or the wing-backs on high up the pitch.
Yeah.
And I think his record is 2-2 against Man City as a manager. So again, he's got that experience of playing against them and beating them as well. So hopefully that works out today.
Yeah, fingers crossed, maybe for you, not for us, slightly. I just wanted to quickly ask as well, Eric Dyer, of course, was a player I think kind of burst on the scene in that kind of holding role, almost in a bit of a Vincent Kompany where they've moved him into centre-half. How do you think, both you, Ledley, I'll begin with you, that has he settled into that position? Do you think he's excelling or...?
He's been very good this season. And last season was difficult because it was his first season that he actually decided that he wanted to play centre-back. We know that he's played there at times, but last season he was a centre back throughout the whole season, and it was difficult for him. He made some mistakes that it's almost like a young player going in, when the position's new to you and you play there every week, you learn things about yourself.
Yeah, and he would have took chances that defenders wouldn't take because he's probably more comfortable than the average defender. So I haven't seen him this season. Ledley's obviously seen more games than me.
He's been very good this season, and to be honest, out of everyone in the team, especially at the back, he's a leader. He's a leader. He's the one who you see demanding, pushing the team on, talking. So, as I said, it's good to see him with Romero today because Romero looks like a top player.
Yeah. He looks like he's more at home now at the back. I thought he could do a job in midfield, but no disrespect, he was always doing a job rather than now. I think he plays for England. Like, I think he's as good as England have in the back three anyway. You know what I mean? So he definitely can play. And obviously shown that he's good enough to play for Spurs in the Premier League and definitely can play for England there.
Yeah, 110%. Just wondered as well, Ledley, looking at if we go back to City and our centre-half partnership that's kind of changed this season. It seems to have been Diaz and Laporte. What have you made of them two? And maybe in particular Ruben Diaz when you speak about leadership.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of Diaz in particular. When I look at the best players in that position in the Premier League, for me, he's there with the likes of Company. They're probably my 2 favourite centre-backs. I think he's a leader as well.
Yeah.
You can see that.
I'll go one further and say I had this chat with Rio on Tuesday. We did the game and I said, I'm going to argue that them 3 centre-backs are as good as a trio as there's been in the Premier League. There's been probably better partnerships. But if you take any of them out, like Stones, Diaz, Laporte, if any 2 of them play, it's equally as strong.
Yes. Where
I don't think there's been a trio of centre-backs that you could argue the case. Like, even if we're talking about other clubs, like I'm saying, Vidic, Ferdinand, if one of them come out, it wasn't the same.
Yes, yeah.
Van Dijk now and Matip strong, but if Van Dijk's not in there, it's not the same.
Yes,
you know what I mean? So I just feel them 3 centre-backs are arguably as good as I've seen in the Premier League.
We get sent a question quite a lot on WhatsApp, and it came in when I was last on. But what would you say is, in your opinion, City's best partnership duo? Would it be a Diaz and Stones, Laporte and Stones, Diaz Laporte? It's a tricky one.
Yeah, I just don't think there's a bad choice, and it might seem like a cop out or sitting on the fence. Like, I thought Diaz not going to play, and then the start of this season he's not featured, and everyone, rightly so, raved about him, say last year when he came, but it was Stones that wasn't playing when the results wasn't going well. When Stones came into the team, that's when the realistic run of 21 games.
Yeah, that's when it came in. Yeah, it was.
But I think it was when Stones came into the team. So again, I just don't think there's a bad option between the three of them.
No.
And again, not disrespecting Nathan Ake, he's done exceptionally well this season. But them three players, I think, if Pep's got to choose, it's between them three, isn't it?
Absolutely. It was his birthday as well the other day as well, Nathan Ake, 27. So massive happy birthday from us all on Matchday Live. Now, the players have just taken to the pitch, both sides, to start their warm-up drills ahead of the game, 5:30 kick-off. One player, sadly, who has not made the team or the bench today is Jack Grealish. He's picked up a slight little injury, but earlier on, he went down to the kids zone, which we have every day on Matchday at Manchester City. And he really, really did have a good time. I think I'm gutted I wasn't there, to be honest with you.
Well groomed, isn't he,
Keep
Jack?
watching Matchday Live.
Oh!
Hopefully, yeah.
Beautiful. Nice one, Jack. Listen, you're welcome to the studio anytime. Joleon, you're good, mate. So you're getting in, won't you,
Jack,
at some
good
point?
guy, man. I like that for Jack.
I mean, quick word on Jack from yourself, Ledley, as well. Of course, big move in the summer. How do you think he's settled into life in a Pep Guardiola team? What's been your assessment?
I've not seen that much, or seen him play too many times this season. But what I do know is that sometimes players, and especially the type of player that Jack is, he's like a free spirit. They might find it difficult initially coming into a Pep team. Whereas there's a lot of structure to the team and where you should be and where you need to be and the way you got to play. So I'd expect to see a much better Jack next season for sure. But there's no doubt in his ability. He's a real joy to watch when he's on the ball. I've got no doubt he'll come good.
Absolutely. Right, we're now going to talk about a game, Ledley, that I'm sure you'll remember, and I know lots of City fans do. Before we get into it, though, here's a little trailer because we have made a brand new City Plus documentary all about it. Feast your eyes on this.
Anyone who says they saw City winning that game is a liar.
Ziga, and it's 3-0.
3-0 down, poor performance, down to 10 men, away from home.
Right, well, we're going out of the cup then, aren't we?
This one's chipped in cleverly. It's a very good goal for Manchester City.
Any keeper in the world would be absolutely proud of that.
That's a great save. He tips it onto the crossbar. Well done, goalkeeper.
You never know what's going to happen.
Big clear there by Gardner. That took a deflection. It's gone in.
The fans were still chanting. The fans were brilliant.
Wright Phillips has made it 3-3.
It's a great run and a fantastic finish.
Sierski looking for an opening here for City. Tarnat.
Oh, yeah, just stand up.
Macken, he's won it. He's won the tie here for Manchester City.
Long after we're 6 foot under or cremated, whatever we decide to do with ourselves, they'll be saying, what about this game? Incredible.
There it is, brand new documentary coming soon to City Plus, which of course you know as well will exist on the Manchester City app, which is brand new. If you download that, you can get it all on there. An incredible game, and one I think that always lasts long in Manchester City fans' minds. I remember actually my dad came and woke me up because he'd sent me to bed at 3-0. But Ledley, I mean, more of a positive note for you because not the result, but I mean, you kicked off the scoring. I mean, I don't know if you want to talk us through this, but the finish on air, by the way, Joleon. I don't know if you...
Yeah, to be fair, week 4 as well.
There's no weak foot.
No.
No. To be fair, I was playing in midfield that day. It was a rare opportunity for me to get in the box, and I was quite comfortable on either side. So, I thought I'd try and catch them out, cut back on my left. Normally, as I've said before, when I scored, I didn't score too many, but when I scored, it was normally a good day for us, but it didn't end well for us.
Well, because it's interesting because we had Trevor Sinclair and Darius for Cel in the studio talking about, and obviously kind of going in for them at half-time at 3-0. They were kind of saying, look, we just need to at least not lose the second half. What was, in the Tottenham dressing room, it must have kind of felt you were home and dry to a degree.
Yeah, definitely. Especially with Joey Barton being sent off at half-time. It was one of them where you 3-0 up, you're not even worried that you don't even care, because if the game was 1-0, you're buzzing, It was 3-0 up. We felt the game was done and
We're not
dusted.
conceding 4. That's what you thought is. We're not conceding 4.
Yeah.
Like I've been
to 10
there.
men.
Yeah.
To 10 men. But then the team scores within 3 minutes of the second half. It's 3-1. And you know that if they get the next goal, it could be problems, and that's what happened. Yeah.
Because that's it, and I guess you feel that on the pitch as players. What do you then try to do? Just to try and stem it. Are you going to everyone just keep your head? Someone let's solidify, or is it sometimes when it gets away from you? It's
that point of when you're in a winning position and you know this is it. Like whoever gets the next goal, if they get it, they're winning this game.
Yeah.
Like and then when you're from behind, you know if you get the next goal, we're winning this game.
Yeah.
Like, and all of a sudden, it doesn't matter how many players you got on the pitch, you just feel faster, stronger, whatever it is. It's mad.
Amazing when the momentum shifts in the game. Like I've seen, think of Liverpool and Milan.
Yeah.
That Milan team was the most experienced team you could get. But when the momentum shifted, they couldn't get the game back.
And that's one of the things I really did notice when there was no fans. Like, that wouldn't have happened if there's no fans.
Yes.
It can't happen because fans get lifted from like a throw-in, a shot on goal, and all of a sudden a tackle. You just hear euphoria in a stadium, and then all of a sudden the momentum is shifted. And again, for the next 5-10 minutes, however long it may be, you just may be backs against the wall.
Yeah. Yeah, the fans do make that difference. And I tell you what, it's funny though, it shows you how far we've come. Honestly, Manchester City were at a place where, well, you know, when you release DVDs at the end of the season, that was our DVD for that season, was a 4-3 win in a fourth round FA Cup. That was our highlight. Ledley, now, it's so great to have you, of course, Premier League legend and all the games for Spurs, but you don't know if you know this yourself, you've got a phenomenal record against Manchester City yourself. You've played us 16 times, won 11, drawn twice, and only lost 3 times. As your time, at Spurs, how was that for you? And, kind of, did you actually realise that, I mean, even Joleon was saying as well, just really how formidable you were as a player?
Sorry, what was the question?
He just heard formidable players.
How was your time in Spurs? How was your time in Spurs? And do you realise the impact and effect that you were having on the pitch at the time?
In terms of the impact, I think one thing that kind of kept me going, especially through the injuries, because at 26 I stopped training, but really it was helping my team to win games, and while I could still do that, I was always going to keep playing.
Yeah.
So I noticed that I had an impact just being on the pitch, making players around me better.
Yeah.
Even if it meant my performance itself wasn't what I was used to, but it was making sure that the team were a better team when I was in there. So yeah, my game became more about that through half my career, more or less half my career. But listen, I joined Tottenham as a 14-year-old. Loved every moment of my career, and was fortunate to have played with so many great players and had so many great memories.
Yeah, I mean Joleon as well. I mean, you kind of you never played together, you and Ledley, but I mean,
no, we
come
was
up
in a couple of
against
squads and that, but I came up against him. Yeah, but like my first agent was Ledley's first agent. So Wolves played Spurs in a pre-season friendly, and I'm not old enough, or not good enough, should I say, to be in the squad yet. And obviously, I knew of Ledley King. I didn't know who he was, and then as a young YTS, I'm getting the book signed, and then it's signed King. And I think, that's Ledley King. You know what I mean? Because it was like, there was no social media then, so you knew of like 3 or 4 players. So like Ledley was one, Joe Cole was one. That
Joe was
that everybody knew about. Like, you just knew their names, and you'd never seen them. I've never seen them because you said there was no social media. But yeah, I got Ledley's autograph, and obviously Joe Cole was another one that everybody knew about.
Because you forget that as well, innit? Obviously, of course, it would have just been kind of Chinese whispers of these players around
there's a player
the club.
over there that's a top player.
You used to go, even like we used to go away with like the national team as a young schoolboy or whatever, and the only time you'd see someone was there, and then if they wasn't in the next squad, you might not see him again for like 6-7 months. So it was hard to kind of create bonds and stuff, relationships, where now obviously lads can keep in touch. People didn't even have mobiles back then. No. So you weren't wasting credit on people you don't know.
The phone box.
But Ledley, because you were involved in, I mean, there was an infamous time really for City and Tottenham where kind of after City had finally tried to get on to kind of almost competing where Tottenham had been competing with the top 4-5. There was the 9-10 season, the 11-12. The 9-10 season, I think, it's great for City fans, but this was of course to solidify the Champions League spot. What do you remember this game? And I guess this goal was massive.
Yeah, I remember it well.
What's Vinny doing there? Stand your feet, Vinny.
It's funny how you look at it from like when I'm watching my team, I'm always. When I see them concede, I'm always looking at the defensive errors.
Yeah.
When I'm watching them score, I don't care about the defensive.
Yeah, nah, to be fair.
But no, it was to be fair, we played really well on the day. We played really well, and we always felt that Man City, they brought in some great players this season, but we felt that we had a core of British players that have been together for a while. You know, myself, Dawson, Crouch, Defoe, Bow was there, JJ, Lennon. Huddleston,
top player, Thompson as well.
Players that had been together for a few years now, and we felt that was a difference on the day and throughout the season for us that got us to top 4.
Yeah, I agree because obviously the year before I was Everton, so that was my first season, City, and it was like Everton, Spurs, Villa, kind of fighting for that, and then it was due to the groups being together longer. Not that one was necessarily better than the others, but obviously then you joined City, and then after 2 or 3 seasons, you started to get click, and all of a sudden, obviously, you just propel forward. But yeah, it was always the groups that had been together longer had just a tighter bond and understanding of each other as well.
Yeah, and it's kind of what you're also seeing with City at the moment. Of course, that they've been together 5-6 years. I mean, this is such an infamous moment as well.
Imagine the lads doing that for Pep.
Oh no. Okay.
Was that Bentley's last game?
Yeah. I've not seen him since.
But it's interesting you say that, because then after actually City you'd had those 3 seasons together. Of course, we come to the infamous 11-12 season. Of course, I think you played in, which is when we the 3-2. I think you were. Well, first of all, shall we begin with? You remember this, Joleon?
I remember.
Remember this screamer of a goal? So they finished 3-2. We were 2-0 up.
There's a second goal.
This being the second.
Yeah.
What's the technique for that one, Joleon?
Just tackle it in. Just get it in the net. Get it in by any means necessary. And then you got that big ogre on me.
Meeks not letting you go.
As I said, he loved it. This is like, I'm young there, so Meeks is like the baby. You know what I mean? But that was just, I think that was just frustration and everything. It was just like trying to anticipate something, but
There's a bit NFL about it.
There's all sorts. There's all sorts going on there. To be fair, there's all sorts. So.
It was a good game, this one. Wasn't
it was a class game. I mean, I'm sure probably not the fondest of memories, but the goal that settled it was a penalty. I don't know if you need VAR on this.
Nah, there's no VAR. There's no VAR.
Got the
ball. well, let's have a look from this angle. It was a good game. I remember.
The thing is with this game is that I'd been out for about a month before, so I had a situation in training, my knee blew up, and I come back, forced myself back for this game, because I think we were both like near the top. We might have been first or second at that point in that season. So I've kind of forced myself back, played, and this was my first game back, and really, I struggled in the game, and for the rest of the season, really, that was kind of the end of it was really the end of my career, really, after that.
Yeah?
This was the first game towards the end of my career, really. I just couldn't move the same. So that's why I gave the penalty.
I mean, there was the argument as well. I'm sure you remember. You know, your manager was kind of saying Balotelli maybe shouldn't have been on the pitch.
Well, I haven't seen the incident, but if it was involving Mario, he shouldn't have been on the pitch. I'll vouch for the manager and say he should have been on the pitch.
But also in that game, I don't know if you can remember, Defoe had a chance where he slid. It was just before that penalty. It was like literally the play before it. The bounce across the ball, Defoe slid,
not
just
one
missed
that
it.
He misses, Defoe doesn't miss them chances. I remember that actually, the top of end.
Defoe actually, I mean, I mean, he's playing, I think he's at Sunderland, but gone back to Sunderland now, isn't he? But he is...
No, he's top 3 finishers I've played with.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
His movement as well, I think, was something to behold as well, wasn't it?
It was weird, because obviously, Ledley would say, he was someone that loved the sound of the ball hitting the net. So you know that like ripple when it goes down?
Yeah.
Like he used to just hit balls into the net just so we could hear that sound. And I didn't even know that was real.
I don't think I've ever met a guy who loves scoring goals.
Yeah.
Kicking the ball in the net as much as him.
Yeah. In training, he would like just hit the net just so we could hear that sound, and he celebrate in training.
Now we're gonna find out in just a second if he made your combined 11. But I just wanted to ask you, Ledley. You know, you played with so many great players, of course, and we see captain that Tottenham team. Who is the one that stands out? I know you always kind of say it's between David Silva and Yaya for you, Joleon. I wondered at Tottenham who would be the one for you, or maybe two.
I mean, you're right. I played with some great players, even players like Edgar Davids. Who wasn't at his best when he was at Tottenham.
Yeah,
that's why
You can't put.
He's
Yeah, that's
not
why I don't
gonna
put
put him in.
That's why I don't put Patrick Vieira in.
Yeah,
because he makes the team.
Exactly.
He makes anyone team. Patrick V.
But Rafa van der Vaart, another top player. Oof. But for me, at that time in Tottenham, Modric and Bale were the two standout players that I played with.
Yeah.
And Gareth, when he left Tottenham, he was probably top 3. I think after Messi and Ronaldo, he was the third best player.
Agreed.
Maybe him or Suarez at that point.
Yeah.
When he left. So, I have to put him there.
Yeah, nice. Thank you, Ledley. Well, listen, maybe if you've got another question like that for Ledley, there's the WhatsApp number on the bottom of the screen. That's how you can get it into us if you've just tuned into Matchday Live. What a duo we've got in the studio today, Joleon, Lescott and Ledley King. And I asked you about your favourite player, but one thing we asked you to do before the show is making a combined 11 of Spurs and Manchester City players. So let's take a look at it in its entirety, and then we're going to focus in on some of your decisions. So we'll bring it up here for you all now. This is a combined Tottenham Hotspur and Manchester City 11. There we go. There it is. So, as chosen by both, we began with, Hart in net, which I guess, Joleon, that was pushing for that.
Joe, obviously, there's only Carl Walker that is a joint decision in terms of not playing for both teams, should I say. But yeah, Harty for me. I'm sure Edison will be more highly regarded when it's all said and done. But for me, there was a spell when Joe was arguably one of the best in the world.
Yeah,
I still remember that game against Dortmund in the Champions League.
Yeah,
where Lewandowski had like 4 one-on-ones and he saved them all. So yeah.
Do you remember his other one when Barcelona? There was a game when Lionel Messi took the mick, and the only reason he didn't have about 6 goals was because of Joe Hart. It's phenomenal.
I'm still thanking him for that.
I remember a game. I think it was the first game of the season.
Yes, it was at Spurs
with the 0-0.
We absolutely battered you. And Joe was ridiculous in the game.
That was his first game because the previous season, Shea Given was in goal, and then Mancini brought him back for that pre-season. And I remember sitting there, I'm on the bench there, and after he made a worldy save, Shea Givens turned around and said, I best get used to sitting here. Swear to God. Shay's funny, and he said that I burst out laughing on the bench. Oh, hilarious.
The rest is history.
The rest is history.
We've of course then we kind of mentioned it before as well. You said, Ledley, that company as well when you favourite players. But I mean, gosh, if you three at centre half, there's a brick wall. I don't think many players be getting through that. That'd be formidable.
What I would say about that is, we all loved defending as much as being in possession. Probably more. Probably loved it like 1v1s, and that's why I used to love being a defender.
You mentioned Walker, but on the other side, Bale, and I wondered obviously because he did start as that left back, left wing back. Could you always see though maybe he was going to be better further up the pitch, or
not in the way that he ended up playing? I thought at the time he was going to be his best position was wing back. Because sometimes you get players who they're not quite left backs or they're not quite wingers at the time.
Yeah.
And he was like that. So I just thought at wing back he's great. But somehow he developed into something else that no one expected.
No one had seen.
Where he could play up front.
Yeah.
He was playing anywhere, really, where he wanted to. His confidence just grew. He had a wand of a left foot.
Yeah.
He could run all day. He was strong. People look at how his physique and that. He never lifted a weight in his life. He just kind of grew into his body. But yeah, as a wing back, he's a player who can do it anyway. He can play anyway. He can do it all. But that's where he started off as a wing back. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a great headline I think as well of them talking about like Bale flop at left back in one of his first 2 games.
No, because remember a game against Everton. So literally, Bale, I think he'd lost like in his first 20 games, 23 games. He'd lost every appearance.
Yeah, wow.
So Harry Redknapp.
I don't think he lost everyone, but I don't think they'd lost one.
Yeah,
he hadn't won a game.
Something ridiculous. And after the game, Everton versus Spurs, Harry Redknapp wanted to swap Leighton Baines.
No way.
For Gareth Bale, but David Moyes said no.
Just for the game, or
after,
just for the
after that, like I remember me and Baines were in the tunnel, and Fingies pulled him and was like trying to like say, yeah, we're interested in doing the deal, and Moyes was like, nah. But it wasn't because he wanted to keep Bainesy. He said he didn't want Bale.
Didn't want Bale.
Yeah, because Bainesy wasn't even playing for us at the time. Like I was playing left back, which obviously I didn't want to do.
Yeah.
Boise was like, nah.
No way. Funny that, isn't it?
So and worked out well for both of them.
we've all had 9. I mean, the forward is one thing, but this central midfield is an absolute joke.
But just like Ledley said then, imagine that versus them 3, Edgar Davids, Patrick Vieira and Kevin De Bruyne.
Oh, would you be the more formidable? That is a great question, isn't it?
You know what I mean? So, like, there's no bad options.
You mentioned Modric as well, but I mean, because I also couldn't believe, I think we were saying in the group before when we his hype, but gosh, I mean, a bit Gundogan-esque, I guess, of the way in which he kind of looked at and approached the game. That was he a joy to play with?
Yeah, he was. For a centre half, he's great because he's always available for you. Do you know what I mean? And you can play it into him when he's got someone behind him. You trust him to make the decision whether to give it back to you or to turn and roll his man. He was so comfortable. But it took him a while because I think we initially thought he was more offensive. So he's more of a number 10.
Yes.
Where he actually preferred playing deeper. So once he started playing deep, that's when he really started to flourish.
Did he play as a winger as well? For
He kind of played off the left. You know what they did with Paul Scholes for England, where they start playing
technical players,
trying to find him in a position for him. Joe Carl was that type of player where you stick him on the left. You don't quite trust them in the middle.
Yeah.
But once he started playing in the middle, what a player.
Ran the game. And then, I mean, it's always close. I mean, Yaya Toure and David Silva kind of don't need much, but
they get in. Yeah, but like what they're saying about Modric, David was the same. Like, David was left wing when he first came because everyone was just playing 4-4-2. So you had to play on the wing because he wasn't going to play in one of the two midfielders, but he just found a way to always be free. Like, he used to go mad if I didn't pass him the ball. Like, even if he was, I said, David, someone marking, he said, no, give me the ball. I was like, I'll give you next time then. But he could just always take responsibility, and it was never my fault.
Yeah.
If I give it to him and it was around his neck and he had to fight someone off, he should have done better kind of thing. So, yeah, special talent.
It's interesting listening to you because, like you say, when they arrived, you forget it was a very more traditional English game, the 4-4-2. I guess it was, Ledley, these are the players, your Modric's, maybe Van der Vaart to a degree, your David Silvas, that actually influenced our English game so much that that's what made it begin to change, and we started having two number 10s maybe, possibly.
Yeah, I think, of course, and the foreign coaches who were probably more advanced in terms of the formations that they were playing. But yeah, there's no doubt that these players have added to the quality of the league, and this is why we've had to play this formation to get these players in.
And we wrap up, of course, here with the two strikers. Of course, I mean it was a no-brainer really. Ledley, for you, I mean you would have known a really young Harry Kane. What was could you see, was he one of them again that you saw? We got a game changer here.
Not initially. I think he'd always scored goals at every level, but you wasn't quite sure if the rest of his game was going to be enough for the Premier League. We knew he was a finisher, but he wasn't particularly quick or strong. But I think he was still growing into his body. He was still, finding his body. He went on loan to a few different clubs. Didn't do great, done okay. But one thing about Harry is his self-belief and his work ethic.
Yeah.
He worked and he believed in himself. And again, similar to Gareth, what a player he's turned into.
Really is, and obviously Sergio as well, Joleon. I mean,
can't even speak highly enough. For me, it would be the greatest ever signing for this club. I don't care what they go on to achieve or whoever joins the club. The impact Sergio has had, it won't be rivaled or matched. It's just ridiculous, and I love strikers that have, similar to Defoe, that have a selfishness of, I need to score. I want to win, but I need to score.
Yeah.
And if you've got a good team, that mindset is perfect because everyone else will do what they need to do to contribute, but he'll be the difference between success.
Which we saw week on, week out. Did you ever come up against Sergio, Ledley?
Yeah, I did, yeah. I don't know how many times. He definitely played in the 3-2.
Yeah.
He was definitely playing in that game. That might have been the early time.
Okay. And are there any other strikers in your time that you remember always, difficult to...
Yeah, of course. There's plenty. I think,
Carlos Tevez? Play against him?
Yeah. He was a terrier. He didn't quite have the same pace or sharpness that Aguero had when he was at his peak. And I think that's what the small players that are sharp for a big centre-half were horrible. Like the Defoe types, the Aguero types where... they'll take the ball and they'll be gone. They'll shoot. You had no chance. They were through your legs. They're just so small and
you think it's lucky
wriggly.
when you're watching it, but it's not luck. They're purposely doing what they're doing. Like Sean Wright Phillips was one that you could tackle him and he could just manipulate the momentum of the ball and you just get through. And I've just been like, I've just tackled you. It's hit the floor. You've hit the floor. It's hit your shin, and now you're still in the stride.
Still on the other side. But, tell you what, that is. I don't think anyone want to come up against that 11 anyway, Chen. So thank you for choosing that, and thank you to all of you at home for getting involved with the show. Honestly, we absolutely love it. We've got some great messages. Hello to Jackson, who's watching all the way over in the United States. We had this question coming from Mark for you, Ledley. It's a great question. It says, Ledley, you were a one-club man, but did you ever get any offers to leave Spurs? And if so, did you ever consider them?
Could we see it here in blue?
Wait a minute. You say we had the same agent? No, ask him. My lips are, there were offers, especially when I was younger, but I was captain from an early age in the team, and I always felt it was my duty to try and take the team on to win things. I wasn't one of them people that wanted to jump ship. Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
It was like, this is my team, and you know, I'm with you. Obviously, as I got older, I had the injury problem, so that kind of put that to bed anyway. But there was opportunities when I was younger, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, Tottenham as well would be better off for it that you were there.
That's
as well.
The thing,
it says a lot,
like,
though, I think, as well, doesn't
of course,
it, Joleon?
huge credit to do that. But obviously, Ledley was there when Spurs, obviously, and still are, considered like to challenge for stuff. I think if there's a period when they wasn't challenging,
I don't know about that.
well, not now. You know what I mean? Like what would you in the Wellington Cup? You cup games. I'm not saying leagues, titles, but you aspirations to winning competitions and stuff like that. So it wasn't like.
I mean, the last time we won anything was 2008.
So that was you was in the final there. Yeah. Chelsea was that. Yeah. So that was his time. You know what I mean? Like if it's like mid-table now, you'd probably be thinking, and clubs now would make it impossible for you to stay. Like you could probably make a decision then, where before it was like, now probably teams are just saying, I want him, so whatever it costs. And then it's not the clubs that you're representing that don't even tell you, it's just done.
Yeah, without you even knowing about it. There is so much, I guess, as well that fans are not privy to at all. Question for you, Joleon, that came in from Cameron. Hello, Cameron. Do you think City are going to miss Grealish today? He's not even on the bench.
I don't think we miss any player, to be honest, and that's no disrespect to Jack. With long periods without KDB, he hasn't played. Diaz has missed games. I just don't. I think the system that Pep has created, I think it allows us to be without any one player, and I don't think there's many teams that can say that in the league, if any.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, listen, we're going to put some more questions to our guests, Ledley and Joleon, because we're going to be here at half-time and at full-time. And as you can see, if you've just tuned in, we've got about 9 minutes till kick-off. So not long left for us here before we hand over to Alistair Mann and Andy Morrison for the commentary. Before that, though, and we start maybe getting predictions from the guys in the studio, of course, we've got our game Who's Stat. We give you clues throughout the show. We ask you to try and work out who the player is. Now, you've already had clue number one. We kind of didn't have too many guesses here in the studio. This is clue number 2. So there's a reminder of your clue number 1. Player scored 97 Premier League goals in his career, and I think this second clue is going to spice it up. This player is a former teammate of both Lescott and Ledley King. Joleon knows. You think you know? Keep it to yourself. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Well, Ledley, any loose idea? We're thinking away. All right. Okay. Don't worry. We've got another clue to come your way, which will be bringing you at half-time. So when the game is going in the tunnel, that's where you come back and join us. Looking at the teams, Ledley, and we're going to get predictions in just a sec, but how can you see maybe this one playing out? Do you think, it's going to be quite a heavy City possession game, and then with a counter? How can you see it maybe playing out?
Yeah, I think the majority of times we played City, they've dominated the ball. I don't think that's going to change today. But as has been the case all the time, is how we deal with them when we win the ball. Are we brave enough to put 2 or 3 passes together once we do win it? And if we can do that, then we can get at them with the front 3. And that's always the most difficult part, because they press you. As soon as they lose it, they press you, win it back again and start playing again. So I've said before, tough game today, but the players on the pitch are more than capable of getting a result. Yeah,
I tell you what as well, I don't like the look of Lucas Moura maybe coming on when people are a bit tired. Joleon, same question for yourself, and then maybe a little prediction.
Yeah, no, I'd say the same. I see possession, City dominating that or controlling that and the tempo. I think the scoreline will probably be tighter than the game appears. I'm going 2-1 City. Son is a danger, isn't he? Like, especially if we're high up the pitch and they leave the space. But yeah, I just think when they're on it, and they seem to be in a rhythm that hasn't been tested enough yet. I think there's no one that can stop them.
Yeah. Ledley, what about for yourself? What would be your prediction from your side?
Well, I think everyone's expecting Tottenham to lose because of the form.
Yeah.
But I think they might get something out of the game.
Yeah.
I'm going to go draw 2-2.
2-2, love that. Yeah, could be. Nice. Okay. Well, listen, gents. Honestly, it's been one of my favourite shows for a while. Ledley, it's a pleasure to have you, Joleon, as well. Always great to be with you. We'll be back at half-time and full-time. So please do now go get yourself a cup of tea. The players are in the tunnel. And remember, the Manchester City app is where you can get commentary from Alistair Mann and Andy Morrison today. Thank you for watching. Last thing for me to say is, come on, City.
Football. It's my life. It's my time to play. It's my time to show we can play. My way of showing how far we've come.
We're creating a movement.
Getting girls, scoring goals.
Share your goal on social media. Don't forget the hashtag. Everyone who takes part will receive a limited edition Puma football.
It's not men's football.
It's not women's football.
It's just football. Same game, same goals.
The pitch is big enough for all of us.